Is it strange that people think you're dead? I think it's like really silly that anyone would even believe that, but.
Rumors about you being dead surfaced. Do you remember that? How do you manage something like that? Because it was a global rumor.
And I was like, I'm dead.
It began with a death that didn't feel real. June 25th, 2009. Michael Jackson was pronounced dead at a hospital in Los Angeles. Officially, it was cardiac arrest. The world mourned instantly. News channels replayed his music. Fans gathered outside the hospital, crying, singing, refusing to believe it. But almost immediately, something felt off. The timeline didn't line up. Emergency call records raised questions. Witness accounts didn't match. And then there was the ambulance. Instead of speeding through traffic like every second mattered, it moved slowly, calmly, almost as if there was no urgency at all. For some, grief turned into suspicion, because when the details don't make sense, people start asking dangerous questions. What if the story wasn't complete? What if the version the public saw wasn't the truth? And then, a more unsettling idea began to form. What if some celebrities don't really die? What if instead they're replaced? It sounds impossible. This idea did not start on the internet. It began in the 1960s, when the world was going through a tough time. In 1963, John F. Kennedy was killed in Dallas. The people who investigated his death, known as the Warren Commission, said that one man named Lee Harvey Oswald did it alone. Over time, people who studied the case found things that did not add up. Many people who were there said they heard shots coming from places, and when they looked at the films, they found timing issues. Also, some important testimonies seemed to be ignored or changed. Around the time the CIA was doing something in secret. During the Cold War, they had a program called MK Ultra, where they used drugs, hypnosis, and other methods to control people's behavior. When these documents were made public in the 1970s, it was clear that the government had done some bad things to people. By the middle of the century, two things were clear. Governments could hide the truth and make people believe what they wanted, and they could also change how people acted and who they were. This made people wonder about something darker. The first big case of a celebrity being replaced happened in 1966. People started to say that Paul McCartney had died in a car accident and was secretly replaced. At first, it sounded crazy. Fans started to look closely at the details. On the album, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, Paul is the one facing away in the back row. On Abbey Road, he is barefoot out of step and holding a cigarette in his hand, even though he is left-handed. More clues were found over time. A license plate that said 28IF, which some thought meant 28 If Alive songs that talked about a crash, and messages that could be heard when the music was played backwards. Even if these were coincidences, the theory spread all over the world. What was strange was that it was never strongly denied. Instead, it just kept going. By the 1990s, real scientific discoveries added another layer to the story. In 1996, scientists cloned a sheep named Dolly in Scotland. This was not an idea, it was real. It showed that it was possible to clone animals. The scientists said that while cloning humans would be against the law, it was technically possible. In the years that followed, many celebrity cases made people keep speculating. In 2002, Eminem released The Eminem Show, which was known for its political messages. After he overdosed and recovered in 2007, fans noticed changes in his voice, lyrics, and even how he looked. Some thought it was just because he had grown as a person and recovered. Others wondered if it was something more. Around the time Britney Spears had a very public breakdown between 2007 and 2008. Pictures from that time showed things that did not add up. Tattoos that looked different, faces that were not symmetrical, and movements that were not typical. Former people who worked with her said that they sometimes used body doubles for security reasons. Skeptics said that did not fully explain the changes in her personality that were seen in interviews. It is important to know that using body doubles is not a conspiracy theory. It is real. Actors like Keanu Reeves use stand-ins when filming, and politicians use doubles to stay safe. Even Joseph Stalin used body doubles when he appeared in public to avoid being killed. This shows that it is possible to substitute one person for another. The question is, how far does it go? One of the talked about cases happened in October 2016. Melania Trump appeared beside Donald Trump at an event. Within minutes, people on media were analyzing what they saw rather than just speculating. They pointed out differences in the shape of her nose, jawline, body language, and the fact that she barely spoke. The hashtag #FakeMelania quickly became popular over the world, and major news outlets reported on it. The official response was brief, a denial without any explanation. What made this moment was that the discussion moved from the fringes to the mainstream, showing how easily people could start to doubt what they saw. New technology has only made these questions more pressing. Now systems can replicate faces in time, and AI models can mimic speech patterns very accurately. By 2022, companies were already showing off digital avatars that could pass as real humans in controlled environments. If a sheep could be cloned in 1996, and AI can replicate identity today, the line between what's possible and what is real becomes thinner and thinner. Some cases stay in the discussion for a long time. Avril Lavigne became famous in the 2000s with a very distinct personality, but by 2007, fans started to point out differences in her handwriting, voice, and behavior. A theory emerged that she had been replaced by a known as Melissa. There is no proof. The theory keeps circulating years later. Similarly, Dave Chappelle walked away from a $50 million contract in 2005, disappeared to South Africa. When he came back, fans saw that he was calmer and his comedy style had changed, which some thought was a shift. Beyond speculation, there is a financial aspect to consider. Celebrities are not just people. They represent economic systems. A global artist makes money from music, tours, and licensing, while actors are tied to contracts hundreds of millions of dollars. Brand deals depend heavily on keeping a public image. If a major celebrity were to die or become unstable, the financial consequences could be enormous. From a business perspective, keeping things becomes very valuable. There is also an explanation based on real research. Documents related to MK Ultra showed attempts to break down a person's identity through trauma and conditioning. Some researchers suggest that big personality changes in figures could result from psychological stress, recovery, or conditioning, rather than replacement. This means a single person could show different behaviors over time without any physical substitution. Despite all of this, clear answers are still missing. No major authority has done an investigation into these claims. Celebrities rarely talk about these theories in detail, often just laughing them off or denying them briefly. Institutions confirm nor thoroughly debunk the idea. This lack of a response keeps the theory alive, stuck between skepticism and curiosity. In the past, replacing someone's identity has been documented. Intelligence agencies have used impersonators, doubles to infiltrate targets, attend meetings, and manipulate outcomes. If such strategies exist in politics and espionage, it raises the question of whether similar tactics could extend into entertainment or public life. In the end, there are three explanations. The first is coincidence and how people perceive things. People naturally look for patterns even when none exist. The second is controlled image management, where surgery, lighting, doubles, and media manipulation create illusions. The third is the possibility of something undisclosed involving advanced identity replication or behavioral control. Most people accept the explanation because it is the most comfortable. The third forces an unsettling realization. you might not always be seeing who you think you are seeing. Time a celebrity walks onto a stage watch carefully. Not the outfit, but the details, the eyes, the expressions, the subtle behaviors that are hardest to replicate. Because if one case were true, it would mean identity itself can be manufactured, controlled, and replaced without the public knowing. Somewhere now, a crowd is cheering, cameras are flashing, and a familiar face is smiling back. Behind that smile, there might be someone else entirely. And the disturbing part is not the possibility itself. It's the fact that no one can say for certain where the truth ends and the illusion begins. Subscribe to Nick's Narratives, where every story hides a secret.